Hello students, today we will start with Unit 5, Section 1, that is Sir Lawley's Ghost. It is written by Asha Nemia. Asha Nemia writes children's stories that have elements of humor and suspense. Rustam, the perfect, was always putting up dramatic acts to playfully frighten the boys in the dormitory. Arjun, the new boy in the boarding school, did not believe in ghosts. Rustam plotted to frighten Arjun. Did he succeed? So students, let us read and understand the lesson. Okay? Lawley's boarding school had two types of residents, boys and ghosts. Not surprising considering that this 150-year-old school had all the features that made it a paradise for ghosts. Paradise for ghosts means an ideal place. The dormitories. Dormitory means large rooms with a number of beds. The dormitories were dingy and full of eerie shadows. Eerie means strange and frightening. Okay? The campus grounds were thickly wooded. What made Lawley's most appealing from a ghost point of view, that is, was the choice of 500 boys who could be frightened at any time of the day or night. That's why when Arjun, a skinny 12-year-old, joined the school and scornfully declared, "I don't believe in ghosts." So, a new boy, his name is Arjun, he has joined the school and he declared that he don't believe in ghosts. The entire school thought he was quite crazy. Surely you don't expect me to believe these silly stories about headless ghosts. So Arjun is telling that you don't expect to believe these all silly stories about headless ghosts or this ridiculous tale about the invisible ghost which walks around with a pillow. So he is not ready to believe in ghosts. And he says that I won't believe that there is a ghost, that also invisible ghost, and it is walking with a pillow. Sir Lawley, after whom the school was named, had once lived in the enormous mansion. Mansion means a large, impressive house, which had been converted into a boarding school after his tragic death. So after the death of Sir Lawley, that place, that mansion had converted into a boarding school. And Sir Lawley had been murdered by a greedy cousin. Since then, his ghost was said to roam in the campus carrying a blood-stained pillow. How can I possibly believe such nonsense? Arjun continued. So Arjun is saying that, how can I believe it? I wouldn't say such things if I were you, Arjun, warned a solemn voice. It was Rustam. So Rustam is saying that if I were you, I wouldn't say that I won't believe in ghosts. Haven't you heard? Rustam went on in a sinister whisper. Sinister means evil and frightening. That when ghosts hear you say that you don't believe in them, they consider it an invitation, almost a challenge to show themselves to you. I wouldn't be surprised if Sir Lawley's ghost decided to teach you a lesson by appearing in front of you one of these days. So, Rustam is telling to Arjun that if you say that you won't believe in ghosts, then this will be an invitation for the ghost to appear in front of you. Okay, then what happens? Rustam grinned gleefully in the dark, so he went away from there He was already busy planning how he would arrange for Sir Lawley's ghost to visit Arjun. So now Rustam had started planning that how Sir Lawley's ghost will visit Arjun. So Rustam decided to use his own pillow and managed to get hold of a long handled broom, the kind used to clean cobwebs. So what he decided? He decided to use his own pillow and he managed to get a long handle broom. That means a broom which is used to clean the cobwebs. In order to make the broom invisible in the dark, what he did to make it invisible in dark, you all know? He smeared the bamboo handle with ash from the log fire in the school kitchen. So from the school kitchen, he brought a log fire, ash. He took ash and he smeared the bamboo so that in the dark it will be invisible. When no one was around, he practiced how the pillow, which was supposed to belong to the ghost, would appear to float into the dormitory by being attached to the broomstick. So now he is practicing. When no one was around him, Rustam started practicing how to fear Arjun. He let the other boys into the secret and instructed them how to behave when the ghostly pillow made its dramatic entry into the dormitory. So he called out some of the boys and he secretly instructed them that how you must behave when the ghostly pillow will arrive. Okay, in the dormitory. Next, on the night of the ghostly visit, Rustam woke up with a start and realized he had overslept. So the day when he had decided at the night, he overslept. Okay, so he had overslept. Then he waked up. Then he thought that he had been asleep for so much time. So he felt under his bed. Yes, the pillow he has prepared was there, and it was still dark. He was about to tiptoe out of bed when a familiar grating sound warned him that the dormitory door was being opened. So now when he waked up, then he thought to start doing his work that he want to frighten Arjun. So he slowly tiptoed out of his bed. Suddenly he heard some noise and he realized that the door was being opened. And he thought, was it the housemaster? And whom did the soft footsteps belongs to? When he discovered the cause of the footstep, icy prickles of fear crept down his spine. For advancing slowly into the dormitory was a blood-stained pillow. So suddenly he saw there a blood-stained pillow, as you can see in the picture. He is now frightened. Now Rustam himself is frightened. What he had decided? Rustam had decided to frighten Arjun. But what happened suddenly? Now Rustam saw a blood-stained pillow and he is frightened now. Now he don't know what to do. He is thinking that whether really I am seeing a ghost? So much he is wondered, frightened. Ghost. Fear had turned Rustam's voice into a feeble squeak. There is a ghost. He tried again, and this time a few sleepy heads stirred awake. Seeing the bloody pillow, the boys assumed Rustam's plans were working. So, that boys, what they thought? That Rustam's plan is working. He started his work. Some of them started giggling. There was so much confusion. Now, no one noticed that Rustam was sitting rigid and horror-struck on his bed instead of being outside the dormitory, stirring the pillow. Steering the pillow means guiding the movement of the pillow with the long broomstick. So the boys were thinking that Rustam is doing this work, but no one have seen that Rustam is still sitting on the bed. The screams continued for a long time, even after the pillow had retreated. Retreated means moved away from the dormitory. That was when the boys finally turned their attention to Arjun. Now the boys saw the Arjun. His eyes had turned saucer shaped with horror. As for Rustam, they felt his acting was simply superb. So the boys felt that Arjun had been frightened. They thought Rustam's plan was superb. He actually had goosebumps on his arms and his teeth didn't stop chattering till the next morning. Now Rustam is so much frightened that till the next morning his teeth is chattering. He is so much frightened. How were they to know that their perfect wasn't acting and that his fear was totally genuine? Now they are thinking that now the boys don't know that Rustam was frightened now, not Arjun. Poor Rustam, he was haunted by the memory of the dreadful vision he had seen. So Rustam is so much frightened. That memory which he has seen, the ghost which he has seen, that spooky pair of hands, he shivered at that thought. So now till the next morning also he is so much frightened because he has seen a ghost. Some days later, Rustam went to the kit room where all the wash clothes and uniforms were stored. As he was picking up a clean shirt, he overheard the matron scolding the school's washerman for not washing the clothes properly. So some days later, after some days, Rustam went to kit room where all the washed clothes and uniforms were stored. So what he did, he was picking up a clean shirt. That time he heard his matron scolding the school washerman for not washing the clothes properly. There was muddy streaks on these sheets and this pillowcase has huge stains on it. The matron complained. So the matron complained and the matron is scolding the man for not washing the clothes properly. There is streaks, there is stain on pillow cover. What can I do, madam? The dhobi defended his washing. That pillowcase had huge patches of redding on it. You know how difficult it is to wash off redding. So, matron is saying that there is stain on the pillow cover. So, that time the dhobi is saying that there is a huge patches of red ink on it and it is very difficult to wash off the red ink. Red ink on a pillowcase? Rustam froze. So now Rustam is thinking, red ink on the pillowcase, how it is possible? Was this the pillow that had been bloodied with red ink to become the ghostly pillow? So now Rustam is thinking that red ink pillow, I think that was the ghostly pillow which I have frightened by seeing at that night. So he is thinking that this is that pillow which I have seen at that night. Yes. Then every student at Lawley's was expected to mark his name on all items of clothing so it wouldn't be difficult to trace the pillowcase owner. So the matron thought that in everything the students' name are there, so it will be easy to find out whose pillow it is. The matron seemed to have the same idea, for she snatched the pillowcase from the washerman and examined it. So she snatched away the pillow and started examining. And suddenly she saw the name Arjun. She explained angrily. So she is now so much angrily she exclaimed that it's Arjun. Seeing the new boy's name marked on the pillowcase, this boy is getting worse and worse. Last week there was a complaint that he had taken a pair of white gloves from the band room and stuffed them with clay from the sculpture room. The clay had dried in the gloves to make it look like a pair of white hands. So she exclaimed that he have become worse and worse now. This boy Arjun have become worse and worse. Last week he had taken a pair of white gloves and he has stuffed clay in that gloves and it looks like white hands. Suddenly she noticed the perfect standing there, absolutely still and pale face. So suddenly Matron saw Rustam standing there, that too still and pale faced. And she asked, "What's the matter, Rustam? You look like you have seen a ghost." Rustam was actually having some very unperfect like thoughts, that cheeky rascal Arjun. But he only shook his head as he mumbled. So the matron asked that, "Have you seen a ghost?" But Rustam replied that, "Seen a ghost? Oh no, ma'am. In fact, I am very glad that I haven't." So he's saying that I haven't seen a ghost. So this was the lesson. Have you all understood, students? It was a lesson about Rustam and Arjun, isn't it? So Arjun was a new student in this boarding school, and when he came, he declared that he won't believe in ghosts. So Rustam had decided to frighten up Arjun, and he planned something, such a play that to frighten him. But Arjun did not frighten. What happened in the last? Arjun had tried to frighten up Rustam, and Rustam was frightened at the last of this story. So I hope you have understood the lesson. Now let us see the MCQ of this lesson. First one. Lawley's boarding school was an ideal place for a ghost because answer is C1. The school was old and the dormitories were full of eerie shadows. Okay. Now let's see second. Or this ridiculous tale about the invisible ghost. The speaker felt that it was a ridiculous tale because answer is C. He did not believe that ghost existed. Now let's see next, third one. Why was Rustam scared when he discovered the cause of footsteps? So answer is B. He thought he had actually seen a ghost. Now last, fourth one. The matron got to know that Arjun had smeared red ink on his pillow because the answer is B. She read the name marked on the pillow. So, I hope you have understood. Okay. Thank you.